Hey YouTube, what's up? My name is Kate and welcome to my brand new channel. I am super excited to start making videos and producing content for you and just showing you my life and what I'm doing and fun things and just whatever I feel like comes to my mind. I want to start off this video and my channel with one of my most personal stories. So we're having a story time video. And I am making this because I feel like there's a lot of people that have similar stories to me and a lot of people that could benefit from hearing my story. And I love talking about it. I love listening to other people's stories and hearing what they've gone through as far as this particular topic goes. And so I just thought it would be a good idea to film it and see how it helps people, or if maybe it won't help anybody, but that's okay, because I just really want to put it out there and hope that maybe somebody can be inspired by it or relate to it in some way. And so here it goes. So the story is about my adoption, and there's not really anything too out of the ordinary or traumatizing or anything like that, but it is unique in some ways, and it is a huge part of my life, and obviously how I've lived my life. And so I just wanted to share that with you. So I was adopted at birth. My birth mom and my parents met before I was born and arranged the whole thing. And so I have an open adoption, and that means that I was allowed to receive letters and gifts from my birth mom, and I was allowed to contact my birth mom as I so pleased, and as my parents thought was appropriate. And so they told me pretty much from the get-go about my adoption. So my mom told me that they let me know when I was just like 1 year old. And of course, I didn't understand what that meant when I was 1 year old, but they really wanted to be open and honest with me about it as I grew up. And so they told me again about it years later. They gave me a book about being adopted and what that meant, and then they years later I was told about having half brothers. I have two of them, and I have gotten to meet both of them just right off the bat. I'm going to tell you that, but I'll get more into that later. And so I've received, like I said, letters and gifts from her throughout the years, and that's pretty much the extent of our contact for my childhood. And I did have a little bit of a time where I was dealing with some anger issues and things, and we think it might have been related to the adoption, but we're not sure. I mean, I was young, so I couldn't really communicate my feelings, and so I took it out as anger. Went to some therapy for that, and got a lot better, supposedly. And so then from there, I want to start off with talking about how I decided to get in contact with my birth mom. So she was on Facebook, and I had kind of found her, but I didn't. I had some hesitancy about adding her because I didn't want my adoptive parents to be upset, and I didn't also know what it was going to be like to talk to her, if it was going to be a good experience or a bad one. And so I decided to add her on Facebook, and we started talking just over Facebook about basic stuff, how she was doing, how I was doing, what we were up to. I was in high school, so I was just basically sports school, that kind of thing. Asked me about my family and how they were doing. And so it was pretty basic stuff. And then the summer after I graduated from high school, I told my parents, well, before I graduated, I told my parents that I wanted to visit her. And she lives in Washington State. And so they were like, okay, we're totally open to that. And so we asked her, if that was something that she wanted to do, and she said yes. So the summer after I graduated, we traveled up to Washington, and we have some other family up there. And we also kind of made a big trip out of it, went to Canada. But we did get to go and visit her, and my youngest half brother, who currently, I guess not currently, but at the time lived with her. And so we met up with them. We ate some food. We went to some spots around the part of Washington that she lived. And we just spent some time together, got to know each other. I spent some time just bonding with my youngest brother. And yeah, it was a really great experience. She, obviously wanted me to know that she didn't give me up because she didn't love me or because she didn't want me. It wasn't like that. It was because, she had a lot going on in her life, a lot of trauma that she's experienced, that she didn't feel like she could give me the best life that I could have, and she wanted to give me to people who would be able to give me a better life. And but she was like, I didn't do it because I didn't want you, and that was reassuring to me. And not that I necessarily needed the reassurance, because my parents are amazing, and they did give me the best life possible. And so I feel very blessed and honored that I have them, and I am blessed and honored that she decided to give me up for adoption, and wanted that life for me. And so after we met her, we came back and we talked for a while, and then I went off to college, and we were just kind of on and off talking, like it was just casual. It wasn't like we talked every day or even every week, every month. It was like really on and off, just whenever we wanted to see how the other person was doing. And then my sophomore year of college came, and I got a message from her saying that she was going through a lot of stuff, and she didn't want me to see what was going on in her life anymore. And she was worried, I guess, that I would judge her or that I would be angry with her for choices she was making. So she decided that it was best that we don't talk anymore, and she deleted me from Facebook. And I was very, very upset. I had a hard time dealing with that, like just because we had gotten to this point where we were so good, and then to hear that she didn't want that anymore was really heartbreaking. And I mean, I had a really good support system during that time. I had, obviously my parents who were there for me and were very, empathetic and offered me some great advice. And I had, my best friend who tried to be there for me as much as she could. And, but, at the same time, like it was something I just kind of had to deal with internally, because it's hard for some people to understand what that's like. And so I was obviously pretty angry at her. I was sad. I was confused about why she decided to make that choice, but that was her choice. That's what she wanted. So for that year, we didn't speak, and I didn't see her life. She didn't see mine. And then about a year later, maybe a year and a half, she wrote me and she said, "I'm so sorry that I did that. Like I want to be friends again. I want to, see what's going on, get an update on your life. I want you to hear about my life again." So I added her back, and we started talking again, on and off. Like it was never consistent ever. And it was never like deep personal conversation. It was more about, basic stuff like how are you doing with sports, how's school, whatever. I guess I wasn't really in sports in college, but you get what I mean. And so then a couple of years later, it was the same thing. She deleted me, said that she didn't want me to see her life anymore. A couple of years later, she added me back. A couple of years later, she deleted me. It was just super on and off. And so, status update, we're currently not speaking, but I don't hold anything against her. I think that she just has a lot going on in her life, and I don't ever want to speak ill about her because those are her choices and things that she's protective of and doesn't want, certain people to know about, and I can respect that. And it makes me sad that she doesn't want me in her life. But she did recently reach out and want to be back friends again, and I just don't know quite sure if I'm ready to be back in her life, to be honest. Like, I just think that it's been a lot of on and off, and I've reached some consistency in my life, and I just think that I'm at a point where I'm content, and I don't necessarily want any drama or anything like that. And so I think I'm content with just being out of her life for now, and maybe later I'll decide differently. I'm not quite sure. But that's as honest as I can be without, being harsh, or, I don't want to sound harsh. I don't want to sound mean, because I love her and I want the best for her. But I also love myself and want the best for myself, and feel that if I keep adding her back and deleting and adding her back and deleting me, that it's just not going to do anything for my emotional stability. So for now, that's where I'm at. I do want to touch on a couple things I didn't say before. So I did say that I had 2 half brothers, and I got to meet the youngest one. Well, the older one is only a couple years younger than me, and him and I are super close. We went to the same middle school together for a year. When we went to high school, we were in high school for a while. I drove him home from school my senior year, and so we definitely have a close bond. We were locker partners for 1 year of high school. He lives not that far. It's about 45 minutes from here, and he's married now, has a fantastic wife, and we all get along super well. And I'm married too, so it's nice that we all 4 of us get along really well. I'm not going to tell his story because it's way different than mine and not my story to tell, but we got to meet, and it was the most amazing thing. And one of, even if I don't have a relationship with my birth mom, I'm so blessed to have this relationship with my brother. And I would love to have a relationship with the youngest one too, but he's so much younger than us, and lives still in Washington, and there's a lot going on in drama with that, and so I don't get to really have that much contact with him, but maybe someday that would be great. But the relationship that I have with my oldest brother, oldest of the youngest, is amazing, and I'm very blessed to have that, and it just feels like we have this connection that is really deep, and I love him to death. And if he sees this, hi Jordan, love you. And so that's like kind of the basics of my story. I did also not mention some of the trauma that my birth mom went through before she was pregnant with me, and that also led her to the decision of giving me up for adoption. But basically, she went through some homelessness. She went through some addictions, and I'm not judging her. I'm not saying this to be mean to her, because we all go through our lives and have trauma, and she was very brave and strong for what she went through, and it's amazing that she made the decision that she did to give me up, because that takes a lot of maturity, and it takes a lot of heart to do that. And no, it's definitely not an easy decision, and I don't take that for granted whatsoever. I think that she did what she thought was best for herself and for me, and I respect that, and I completely agree with it. And I don't hold any animosity towards her. I don't hold any anger towards her and her situation. I just want her to live her best life, and whatever she's going through, whatever she's struggling with, whatever is happening in her life, I just want what's best for her. I just want her to, be happy and like I am. And so I think that's about all of my story. I'm trying to remember if there's anything that I left out, but I don't think so. But I do want to say too that my story, my adoption story, is the reason why I decided to go into social work, and the reason why I got my degrees in that and want to pursue helping other people. And you know what, for a long time I thought that my dream job was to be an adoption specialist, and I still think that that could be in my future, but I also know that I could be called somewhere else. And I currently work for a high school working with kids, and so that's an awesome thing that I'm doing for now, and who knows where I'm going to be in the future. But I believe that my story and my adoption has just completely molded who I am as a person. And I do want to give just a big shout out to my parents because they're amazing. And I am so glad that they, even though they went through their own thing of not being able to have kids, that they wanted me enough to adopt me. And I just really think that that's one of the biggest blessings is to be able to give a kid a home that needs one. And I needed one, and they were there. And so I'm very grateful for that. And they raised me amazingly, not saying that to be cocky, but like they did an amazing job raising me. And they gave me everything I could have ever needed or wanted, and they were always there for me, always giving me the best advice. And so I'm truly grateful for them and everything that they've done for me and will continue to do for me. And I really have an amazing life and an amazing support system and family, and hopefully someday I can be that for other people. I know that my husband and I have talked about someday wanting to foster children, and with the potential of adopting if that comes up. But I want to give kids homes that need them, and I biologically want to have my own kids as well. But I think it would be an awesome opportunity to get to do what my parents did for me in adopting me and what my birth mom did for me. I want to support a birth mom the way that my parents did. And so we'll see what happens. I'll definitely keep you guys updated on what happens in my career, what happens in our kids, if we're going to have kids in the future, what that looks like. But I wanted this first video to be one that was really meaningful to me and one that I felt like people could relate to. And so I hope that you did, and I hope that you liked it. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them the best that I can. I also, there's some things that I just don't want to disclose about my birth mom and what went on in her life. It's not anybody's business past what I've already told you. And I don't want anybody to, make any comments about her. I think that, she did what she needed to do. And here I am because of it. I'm in a great spot, and so I'm nothing but thankful for her and what she's gone through and, what decisions she made. So that's where I'm going to end this video. If you liked this video, definitely like the video, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be making more videos like this very soon, but also not as many videos as serious as this one. I definitely plan to make some fun videos, some entertaining videos. My husband's going to join me for some videos, so you'll get to meet him. Best friend's going to join me for some videos, so you're going to get to meet her. Probably parents will be in some videos, so you'll see them. So I just really hope that I can, with this channel, show you who I am and my life, and you can follow me for that ride, and it's going to be a good one. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. We'll talk to you later, YouTube. Bye.